2 of the last 4 years. In one of those years, they went 8-5, and they had a wide receiver at quarterback. Everyone got injured.
Yeah.
So they had to put a wide, and they still won games. Kentucky is you can say, basketball school. No, Kentucky is turning into a football school. They fill up their stadium. It's an awesome environment to go there. That's a tough place to play as well.
Let the record show, I did say Kentucky was turning into a football school. But let's move on. Next, I've got Florida. All you Florida fans out there, I've got them going 7-5. This is tough for me because we really don't know how Florida's going to look. Anthony Richardson, I think he only completed like 35 passes last year, something like that.
That dude's good, though.
Dude's an athlete, though. I mean, just give him the ball and just watch him, make things happen. He, as a Georgia fan, I mean, I would hate to go against Anthony Richardson. Wouldn't you?
Can we pull up Florida's schedule on the screen? I think that's important. I want us to look at Florida's schedule because it's tricky. I don't want to sit here and act like we're crapping on Florida. I think that they just kind of have a tough slate throughout the season.
It
I really do.
Is. I mean, they kind of got to the. I mean, you have to cross over, and they got to go to A&M this year. Do they? They do go to A&M this year.
They play at A&M. Their crossover games are LSU and A&M. As soon as we get that up, we'll be able to.
All right. So let's see. They start off with Utah, and then they go to Kentucky.
So Utah in the opener. Utah, I think, is a strong team. We saw they were a top 10 team last year. I think they'll be a top 10 team again. I don't see Florida beating Utah. I'd love to hear Florida fans' comments. I want to know what you think about that game. But I think it's going to be close. And I'm a believer in the new coach. Mm-hmm. I am. I think that he's a good coach. He did a good job at Louisiana. When I lived in Louisiana, we'd go to Lafayette all the time, and I loved what he was building there. People loved him. But this first season's going to be rocky. Opening up against Utah, I think the Pac-12 gets the best of the SEC in this one. But then again, Georgia's going to beat Oregon, so it's all going to even out. So don't go thinking I'm saying the SEC,
right?
The Pac-12's better than the SEC. I'm not.
And Utah looks so good at the So
I love them. I'm not going to lie.
Here's the thing: if you're a Florida fan and you're looking at this game coming up, you got two advantages right here. All right, the first advantage: Utah always starts off really slow at the beginning of the season, and you're playing at the Swamp. You got two great things.
To
going
say
on
Utah
for you.
starts out slow, that's only going by one season.
Well, that's true.
Because a few years ago, they were undefeated all the way up until.
I still want to throw that out there to them. I mean, it is.
They didn't have a quarterback. Then they finished strong. What you saw them finish like is how they're going to be next year.
Let's see how it plays out. So I got Florida losing to Utah, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, and A&M. They're going 7-5. That's what I got.
I think that I got them losing to Utah. I think they're going to lose to Kentucky again. That could be a toss-up, though, because I feel like even though I think Kentucky is a much better team, Florida, for some reason, they have Kentucky's number. I know Kentucky's beat them twice in the last few years, but still, I would say that it's a head thing still. I think Florida comes in as the dominant team in that rivalry.
They only beat them last year. They
beat them
the year before.
Yeah, they beat them in 2018, I believe, as well. No, 2017 they beat them.
As bad as LSU is most likely going to be, I think Florida runs a good risk of having at least 3 to 4 losses before they make it to Georgia. That's a sad reality, but there's a good chance of that.
Yeah. I mean, because I got them losing at Tennessee too, and I just think Tennessee's a better team. Then I got them losing to Georgia. I got them losing at Texas A&M and to South Carolina. South Carolina beat the brakes out of them last year. Beat the brakes out of them. I don't see that changing. Florida, I think, goes 6-6 and finishes 5th in the East. I do think they will improve, though.
Did you say that you had them losing to LSU?
No, I got them beating LSU.
Okay.
I think they'll beat LSU.
Who were the teams again that you had?
I have them losing to Utah, Kentucky, at Tennessee, Georgia, at Texas A&M, and South Carolina.
Okay, the South Carolina is the one difference that we have. Okay. All right. So next, we've already talked about South Carolina.
Let's roll to Missouri, because Missouri I think is an interesting team. I like what Elijah Drinkwitz is doing there. I think he's a good coach. I think it's hard to recruit in Missouri. I'll say that. But what do you have? Kind of what are your thoughts on Missouri this year? I know you're low on them.
It's I have to be, and it's not a shot that's taken at Missouri. You throw Missouri in another conference, they probably win 7-8 games. I really think they're a good team, but when you look at this and who they have to play, I'm just like I don't know how I really feel about this. But who I have them going losing to is Kansas State, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas.
So you got them going 4-8.
I'm going 4-8.
That's absurd. They went 6-7 last year. They're only going to be better. Where do we come from 6-7 to 4-8 when you're improved under a coach that is just getting his backing? He's just getting his feet on the ground.
I just think the other teams are so much better.
Like who? Because you just said Florida.
I think South Carolina. I think Florida's a better team than Missouri. I think Tennessee and Kentucky. I think they just lose all the SEC East games.
Nah, they'll knock
and
off
I think
somebody.
they have something. I just think Kansas State could just jump in there and just beat them.
They
too.
ain't losing to Kansas State. Kansas State's going to have a good year.
Where do you have Missouri going?
I got Missouri going 6-6. I think they're going to be bowl eligible, and the reason I have them going 6-6 is I think they're going to be improved. They're going to have a strong run game. They have a strong offensive line. Defensively, they're going to be middle of the pack in the SEC. I think that they'll beat Kansas State, which is where you have them losing, and then they're going to beat Vanderbilt, and then Louisiana Tech. Then they play some Christian school. They're going to beat them. So in New Mexico State, those are to me. That's 5 wins. And then where I have Missouri winning the 6th game is I think they're going to go to South Carolina and beat South Carolina. I just think South Carolina's going to be coming off a big win against Texas A&M. Missouri's the kind of team that will sneak up on you, and they will beat you if you're not ready. They've showed it time and time again.
That is true. They have shown it. After someone has a big win, Missouri just comes in there and just sneaks up on you and just shocks the world every time. All right, and
Clark Lee is a joke. So Vanderbilt's going 2-10. They might not even be Hawaii.
I got the 2 wins, Elon and Northern Illinois. So that's what I got. They're not beating Hawaii.
Northern Illinois? Are you crazy? Northern Illinois has an awesome offense. They will not beat Northern Illinois. I'll put money on that right now. They will not beat Northern Illinois.
They got to win 2 games.
It's not even.
Who do you have them beating Hawaii?
Yeah, I got them beating Hawaii. I think they'll win that opener. Clark Lee is producing national champions, though, so the expectation is beating Hawaii. Dude's an idiot. If I'm Vanderbilt's athletic director and I hear my coach say that, I'm canning him. I'm like, bro, bring back Derek Mason. Why did we get rid of him? You're never going to win more games. You had James Franklin was the only coach that's done anything there. Derek Mason loved the program. The players loved him. And now we have Clark Lee. Came from Notre Dame. Everyone hates Notre Dame, so that doesn't even.
All right, so you gotta pick one game on the schedule that's winnable for Vanderbilt. I mean, that's outside of your
for an SEC team.
For an SEC team, what winnable SEC game?
None. They have a horrible coach. Horrible player.
But you gotta pick one.
He got one thing right. Nashville's a good city. He's got one of the best cities. He can't recruit anybody to there. Like, what's going on? Their baseball team's good.
I mean, is it a Missouri they catch on an off day? Is it a
Well, if they beat Missouri, I got Missouri going 3-9, so that's not going to happen.
Is it an Ole Miss that just got pounded by realistically what chance?
If I had to pick Vanderbilt beating an SEC team,
is it Florida giving up at the end of the year?
No, I don't see Florida doing that.
I could see Ole Miss. Ole Miss coming off a big win against Kentucky because Kentucky's going to be a top 10 team coming in big-headed. I don't think they'll do it, but I could just see it's a time in the schedule. And it's in Nashville, but going to Mizzou and beating them, Alabama, no way. Georgia, no way. South Carolina, maybe.
That was my kind of thing, but I just don't see it happening. There's absolutely no way, unless he knows something we don't, which apparently he does. I don't know what the dude's thinking.
I do want to say this though: Vanderbilt is a horrible SEC team, but we've got to in football, yes, but we've got to consider that the SEC and despite what you believe, and this is coming from completely unbiased, the SEC is the best conference in football. And so somebody's got to be a doormat. It doesn't mean that Vanderbilt would lose in every conference. I think they'd pick up a few more wins in a different conference. And I know we've heard the debate. We've seen it on the page. Oh, is the SEC – I take the Big 12 over the SEC. I saw someone post that today. I've seen just people saying, oh, there's no schedule in the SEC. Look, despite what you think, the SEC, since we've had a national championship game in 1998, has won 13 national championships with 6 different schools. 6 different schools. 3 different schools in the last 3 years. So it's not just Alabama. LSU's won 3 national championships in that time. Florida's won 2. Alabama's won 6. Auburn's won 1. Georgia's won 1. Am I missing? Tennessee's won 1.
The 98 season. Well, that's Peyton
So,
Manning.
we've got to get past this whole. The SEC is by far the best conference, and Vanderbilt's playing in it. They need to get out of the SEC if they want to win games. If Clark Lea wants to be a great coach, go somewhere else, dude. You're never going to win.
I gotta say, when it comes to the East, I'm not particularly high on anybody. I mean, of course, Georgia is a given, but I'm not particularly high on anybody besides maybe Tennessee and Kentucky. Kind of like interests me. South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Florida, Missouri. I got nothing.
So why are you high on Tennessee?
They're just gonna be. I feel like Tennessee has a lot of momentum. Like it's not.
Oh, after a loss to Purdue?
Well, not necessarily. It just you have a season where you had hope after just being at the
I see that.
bottom of the dumpster for so long.
Sure.
You have finally the makings of a decent team, and not necessarily I'm high on them. I just don't have a lot to choose from.
Yeah, I got you.
So it's kind of picking.
It's a
for me. I don't like South Carolina. Maybe building something over the next 4 or 5 years. Maybe I don't know if it's now. I don't know if it's this year. Maybe in a few years. But I still don't. I feel like South Carolina.
Shane Beamer, man.
South Carolina's got a tough schedule, man. That's rough.
They really do.
They've got a hard schedule. I mean, Vanderbilt just gets.
I think Clemson is such an unknown on South Carolina's schedule, though. That's kind of the tough thing. I think Clemson's going to be really good. Could South Carolina finally get them in the streak end? I think there's an opportunity there this year.
I'm excited for that game. When I look at that last week of college football, I always look forward to that game. One of the most, it's always been appealing to me because it's just like South Carolina's finally, and it's not like I hate Clemson or anything like that, or not that I like South Carolina, but I'm always for the underdog, unless it's against my team, and I'm just waiting for South Carolina to finally get one.
Is that game in Columbia? I have it down as
South Carolina.
No, it's at Clemson.
It's at Clemson this year.
That's going to be a tough mountain to climb. We'll see. We'll talk about Clemson next week a lot, so we'll move on. Let's move on to the SEC West.
All right, West, Bama 12-0. You've got them going 12-0 too.
Yeah, I think Bama runs the table this year. I think that Saban is returning the best team he's probably ever had, and that's including that 2020 team that could be an all-day argument, and we'll probably talk about it after the offseason, that I think is the best national champion we've seen.
Sure.
He's 2019 LSU. He loves them, whatever, 80-0, but that's another topic. So I think that Bama's going to even be better. I don't see anyone touching them. I think Georgia will play them close in the SEC championship just because Georgia is going to be strong. But I think Bama gets out alive, advances to the playoffs, and ultimately I have Bama winning the national championship.
I do too. Just with everything that they did last year and looking back, I just think Bama might produce one of the best Alabama teams we've ever seen this year. And that's
best team ever.
Best team from Alabama.
No, the best team ever.
You think you're saying the best team we've ever seen?
I think the 2020 Alabama team was the best, one of the best team we've ever seen.
Okay.
I mean, they just ran it up on everybody. Who do you think the best team we've ever seen is?
You're not going to like my answer.
Oh, 2004 USC?
No, I'd say 2019 LSU.
Come on, man. They barely beat Alabama with a hurt Tua.
No,
what's yours?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to. LSU is probably the most dominant team I've ever seen on both sides of the ball. That is
defense. They were suspect a little bit, but they scored every time they got possession of the ball, and it's just like.
So did Alabama in 2020.
Yeah, but you didn't see LSU lose a dumb game. You come close to losing a dumb game. They just they literally just ran the table, and not just the fact that they didn't lose, but they beat everyone.
They almost lost to Auburn.
Yeah, I mean,
you're gonna have one of those games every year, though.
it's a weak game, but it's not a game where like, okay, you know, this is one of those games where
We'll see what that Alabama.
where Auburn just upends them. That Joe Burrow team was
lightning
absurd.
in a bottle.
Was absolutely absurd.
I can't think. I'm pretty high on the 2004 USC team. I love Matt Leinart, Lindell White, Reggie Bush. That was such a phenomenal team, and I've got some irrational fondness towards USC, and I cannot wait to talk about the Pac-12 win. Are we doing that week 3 or
I think week 4.
week 4?
But regardless, I mean, Alabama in that 2020 season drilled everybody. I mean, the only game that was remotely close was Florida gave them a run for their money, and that's equivalent to Auburn giving LSU a run for their money. But they literally beat the brakes. Even Ohio, they won the national championship by 4 touchdowns.
What was the Florida LSU score? That I felt like that 2019 game went way back and forth. The score for that one.
Yeah, that one was closer than we're thinking too. Regardless, though, I mean, those were both really good teams.
Sure.
I'd rank LSU the second best, then probably go 04 USC. That 01 Miami team was nasty too. But
yeah, you forget about that one. But how can you forget about that one? That was,
it's just a different style of play too back then than it is now, so it's hard to compare.
All right, so Alabama, we both got going 12-0. Next in line for me, and I'm going to catch some hate for this. I'm taking Arkansas.
I got Arkansas finishing second in the West as well, and I don't.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know why you think you're going to catch some hate. They finished third in the West last year, and Ole Miss lost a lot more. Arkansas does not return that many players, but I think they have so much momentum, and they're recruiting so good.
The players they do have returning, so they got KJ Jefferson back, which is a huge.
Yeah, he's good.
I think he's great. And then they got the stable of running backs returning. So they got Raheem Sanders, Dom Johnson, and A.J. Green, not to be confused with the Georgia receiver A.J. Green. They got 5 offensive players returning and 4 defensive players returning. They also got Jaden Hasselwood. Now, he is an OU transfer, and I believe it was 2018. He was the most sought-after receiver to be recruited. And, dude, let's not forget about the defensive side of the ball. Bumper Pool. That linebacker is just nasty.
Well, I think we have to take into account Barry Odom is their defensive coordinator. Dan Enos is their offensive coordinator. Sam Pittman is their head coach. They have got a great coaching staff. One of the best in the SEC, and they will show up every week, and they're going to play. And they have an opener against Cincinnati, though.
That's a fun game.
Interesting. So do they beat Cincinnati? Do you have them winning that game?
I have them beating Cincinnati. And the reason I have them beating Cincinnati is just because I think Arkansas is just an overall better team. You don't have Desmond Ridder back at Cincinnati. And I think that's just it. I'm going to keep it short and sweet and simple there. I think that's really what...
I think Cincy will have a good season.
I do too.
I do think that they lost a lot. And it's not even that much about Desmond Ridder. The defensive side of the ball for Cincinnati was just nasty last year. And they lost a lot of talent to the NFL. So I got Arkansas winning there. Then I have them beating South Carolina. I have them beat Missouri State, of course. And then at Texas A&M, I have them winning. Do you think they win at Texas A&M?
You know, at first I said no. And then I really got to thinking about it, and we're about to hit on Texas A&M next. I really got him looking at Texas A&M, and the only loss I have Arkansas having is to Bama. That's it.
You got Arkansas going 11-1.
I have Arkansas going 11-1. That's why I'm telling you. I'm going to catch some slack for
Hey
that.
guys, Arkansas is going to be in the college football playoff. You heard it here first from Dustin Purcell.
Tyler, what are your thoughts on Arkansas?
Like I said, I'm kind of in the middle with Arkansas. I don't think they're a better team than Texas A&M, just strictly because of what I think A&M lacked last year that they're going to get back this year. Now, it has little to do with recruiting. I think that's going to be the hype behind them. We're being excited for them. Mm-hmm. But I think ultimately the West is just going to beat the crap out of themselves. I think that's going to be the biggest problem.
I know mine is extremely bold.
Everyone loses to Alabama in the West, but they also end up beating themselves to the point where you don't really. It looks like they're less competitive than they really are.
Yeah,
I think it's going to ultimately do them the worst favors. I think you may look at like a second or second place that may have 3 losses. Like it may be that ugly.
I mean, I got my thing with Arkansas is I think Arkansas is going to be good. I'm kind of with Tyler. I'm not high on A&M, and we'll go into that. I just think it's all hype. But I do want to talk about what I have for Arkansas because you got them going 11-1. I think that's absurd. I think they for sure lose to Alabama. I think they'll lose at Mississippi State after a hard loss to Alabama. I think it's just going to kind of spiral. Then at BYU, I see them losing again. I think BYU in Salt Lake City is going to be a tough team to beat. They got 18 returning starters. I'm high on BYU. I do think they'll rebound and win at Auburn, and it will kind of catch them some momentum, and they'll finish out the season 9-3, going 6-2 in the SEC. So I do have them finishing second. So we can I got a different third in the SEC than Dustin does. I think you have A&M going third. We can talk about them next because I feel like
we can hit on A&M. I have A&M going third. I've got them losing to Bama, Mississippi State, and Arkansas right now.
I got A&M going 7-5. I'm not a believer in Jimbo Fisher. He had one good team at Florida State. He was in a crap conference that made him look good at Florida State. Mm-hmm. He ended up tanking Florida State and then leaving. Jameis Winston was once a generational quarterback that he won a national title with, and I don't take that away, but Auburn completely crapped the bed in the national championship game. Auburn should have won that game. And you take Auburn if Auburn doesn't blow a 21-point lead there, do we even talk about Jimbo? No, we don't. His contract is absurd. He's no better than Kevin Sumlin. He goes 8-4 every year. He had one good year in 2020, a COVID year, when half the teams before he played them got sick.
We wouldn't have crab legs without.
That's true.
We wouldn't know how to eat a W without Jimbo Fisher and his crab leg man.
So what are your thoughts on A&M, Tyler?
It's not like I said. I'm not high on anybody. Like I feel like the problem here is that you have 2 teams that are most likely just going to beat up on teams that are still in the process of getting to the point where Vanderbilt claims that they are. You look at the West in its entirety. Like I said, they're going to beat up on themselves. LSU doesn't know what they're doing because they don't. You can. I know a lot of people are going to be high on Brian Kelly, but he's got a lot of work to do. It's
not just his accent either.
Yeah, and we'll get on to LSU.
He's done his accent great, but when you talk about Texas A&M, they're inevitably going to lose to Alabama. They're playing in Tuscaloosa. That's not. They're not winning that game. They got lucky last year with a few good breaks, and they ended up stealing the game from Alabama.
And Alabama's going to be ticked off, man. He ain't losing to him again.
No, not again. No, absolutely not. So, like I said, they're going to beat up on themselves. Texas A&M is probably going to have 3 losses and finish second in the West. That's my guess. Yeah. I could easily see that. Like I said, the West is going to beat up on themselves, and Texas A&M is going to look good on paper. They're not going to succeed. Their only route to anything is to beat Alabama, and that's not going to happen.
So, I mean, I got them with 5 losses, which is kind of steep, but Arkansas, I think they'll lose there. I think they'll lose at Mississippi State. Starkville is a hard place to play. And Mississippi State has a slew of returning starters. I think they return, what is it?
I got that right
17 returning starters this year.
9 on offense, 8 on defense.
17, and they're coming off a 7-6 season. They lose there. They're going to lose at Alabama. I have them losing to Ole Miss. And then at the end of the year, I think LSU is going to get an upset against Texas A&M and here's why. The only reason I think so is, number one, that game is always back and forth. And number two, I think LSU is going to come into that game 5-6 and hungry for a bowl in Brian Kelly's first year. And I think they're going to get it. Texas A&M's not going to have much to play for, sitting at 7-4. Jimbo recruited good, and I know we're going to hear about their number 1 recruiting class, but those number 1 recruiting classes, it takes 3 years of good recruiting to really have a good program. I just don't see them building up that quickly. Max Johnson is a good quarterback, but what did he do? He led LSU to 6-7 last year. So
LSU starts the year with Florida State and then goes to they have basically a bye week against Southern, and they roll right into Mississippi State. They're already going to be on a rough start. I mean, we don't know what to expect out of Florida State, but
that's a Monday night game.
Mississippi State,
isn't it?
I mean, they're playing at home, but I mean they're probably going to be hurting out of the gate. You recover against New Mexico.
They ain't beat Mississippi State.
No, that's what I'm saying. You recover.
Yeah.
You recover against New Mexico, and then you roll into Auburn, Tennessee, and Florida, which to me, I could flip a coin and still probably get those games wrong. Those are going to be really close. I don't know what to expect out of LSU. They're going to be a big question mark for me.
So yeah, Mississippi State's.
So on Texas A&M, you have them 9-3, second in the East.
I do.
I mean West. Sorry, the West. And I got them 7-5. Miami's a big game, and they play App State too. I think Miami and App State are two losable games for Texas A&M. That might sound crazy, but if Texas A&M goes better than 7-5, I'd be surprised. That's all I'm gonna say. I know people might be high on them, but yeah, let's move on to Mississippi State because you have Texas A&M as third in the West. I have Mississippi State finishing as third in the West. I think Mississippi State is going to be strong next year, and you can laugh all you want, but they finished fourth in the West last year. They were in front of Texas A&M last year. So go look it up if you want to. The name on the jersey doesn't mean squat. We've got to get past that.
So I got Mississippi State going 8-4. Did you say 8-4?
I got 9-3.
9-3. Okay. So I got them losing to Arkansas, Kentucky, Bama, and Georgia. So looking at last year, so Mississippi State beat a really good NC State team. They beat Kentucky and they beat A&M. Here's the shocking thing about Mississippi State that blew my mind after doing all this research. They had the fourth best defense.
Oh, I know. They're
in
good.
The SEC. When you think of Mississippi State, you think of Will Rogers, you think of Mike Leach, you think of the air raid offense. That's really all you think about. He had the fourth best defense in the SEC, and not to mention he's got 17 returning players.
And they were so hot and cold last year. And here's what I understand about Mississippi State.
Well, it's like college basketball. You live and die by the three. And it's the same thing with the air raid offense. It's going to happen. They're going to probably choke to someone who they shouldn't choke to. But, I mean, I'm really high on Mississippi State. And it really surprises me how high I am on them right now.
Yeah, I got them. I got them pretty much. I got Mississippi State starting 6-0 in their first loss. I do think they're going to beat Texas A&M and Arkansas at home. I think Starkville's a tough place to play. I can't tell you how more. I think that's going to be tough, and they're going to have a lot of momentum. I think at Kentucky just presents problems because Kentucky can slow down the game. They'll get Will Rogers out of rhythm, and they're going to just run the ball. They're going to be slow. They're going to be dynamic. They're going to be big. I just think Kentucky will wear them out. So I do have them losing at Kentucky, and then Alabama. There's no question. I think they'll play Alabama close, though. I think this is one of Alabama's toughest games on their schedule because Mississippi State is going to come hungry, and if Alabama tries to get into an offensive production contest with them, it could go back and forth, and it could be high scoring.
And that would be fun.
If they can figure out how to contain Will Anderson, they have a shot at this. No.
Oh, you're
talking
saying
about Alabama's
okay.
I think Mississippi State's problem is that last half of their schedule is just brutal.
Yeah, I got them losing 3 of the last 6.
That's crazy. I mean, even if you somehow manage to beat, let's say you somehow manage to beat Texas A&M and Arkansas, you're gonna have to roll into Kentucky and then Alabama, and then turn around and play Auburn and Georgia. There's no way your players are gonna physically or mentally survive that. I can't remember where they're ranked in the toughness of schedule, but that's got to be.
It's got to be up there.
That's got to be top
really
5.
high.
I don't know if there's any schedule that's harder than that. I know Vanderbilt's always up there because they play so many of those teams, but
Clark Leah.
at the same time, Mississippi State's they're in for it, man. This is it though. This is how you bring your newly found I guess West stardom to light when you play these teams. If you can somehow come out of there with 2 losses, you might set the precedent for the West. And granted, you're not going to win it, but you might look.
Yeah. I mean, I got them losing at Kentucky, at Alabama, and then to Georgia. I think they're going to beat Auburn and Ole Miss at the end. Ole Miss, that's going to be a good game. Which that kind of will transition us because I think Ole Miss is going to be a good team. I have Mississippi State finishing 3rd. You have them finishing what in the West?
Mississippi State, I have finishing 4th.
4th in the West. So, and you had Texas A&M. So who I have finishing 4th in the West is Ole Miss. Where do you have Ole Miss?
I have Ole Miss
4th, 5th.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you got Ole Miss finishing 5th in the West. What record do you have for them? Who do you think they lose to? Where do you think they stumble?
I got to go with 7-5. And here, before I get on this in my yellow golf ball that I've been holding the entire time, so
When they went 10-3 last year.
I know they went 10-3 last year. They lost Matt Corral, defensive end Sam Williams, who's a beast. They lost their 3 leading receivers, their top 4 rushers, and all their top linebackers. They get a transfer quarterback in, USC quarterback Jackson Dart, which I honestly don't know much about him. Do y'all know anything about him?
I don't think it matters, man. Lane Kiffin can pull a quarterback out of the woods and somehow make him special.
And then I got running back transfer from TCU, Zach Evans. Let's
He's
just hope he
good.
doesn't punch a coach. I'm praying for you, Lane
Who
Kiffin.
cares if he punches a coach? If he can run the football, we're good.
Lane Kiffin just wants to win. He'll take a beating. To
Yeah,
win.
I mean, dude gets hit in the head with a golf ball, doesn't care. A punch won't matter.
That's right. All right, so Ole Miss, I got them losing at LSU. I have a feeling they're just going to lose to LSU this year. Texas A&M, Bama, Arkansas, and Mississippi State. That's what I got.
So Ole Miss does have 5 returners on offense and 6 on defense. So it's not like they're not returning anybody, and that's off a 10-win season. I'm a believer in Lane Kiffin. You can think what you want. I love the guy. And honestly, it is great for college football for Lane Kiffin to have a good team. I hope he stays at Ole Miss. I hope he produces a good program. Ole Miss has the best offensive line coach in the country in Jake Thornton. We all know that. So they're going to have a strong offensive line. They're going to be ready to go. And that's just a shout-out to our Toccoa boy, Jake Thornton. But I have them starting the season. I actually have them beating Kentucky, which I'm high on Kentucky, but that's one of Kentucky's 2 losses. So I have them starting the season actually 7-0, and I think they're going to go at LSU, and I'm with Dustin. I think LSU gets a big win here against a top 10, maybe a top 5 Ole Miss team. LSU gets the upset. Then I do have them rebounding the next week and beating Texas A&M, but then closing their season out with losses to Alabama, at Arkansas, and Mississippi State. And that Mississippi State game is a toss-up. I'm just going with experience. And look, don't be surprised if Mississippi State does better than what I'm saying. Like I can't say that enough. Mississippi State is gonna be good. It's time to be there. It's time to understand that. And so, yeah, I got Ole Miss finishing 8-4, and I have them finishing 4th in the West. Then I have Texas A&M finishing 5th. So let's go to the bottom half. Everyone loves to talk about Auburn and LSU. It's sad that we're talking about them in the bottom half.
It's so when I look at this, I hate my predictions. I do, because you're looking at this and you're like, this shouldn't be the way it is. But like my bottom 2, LSU, then Auburn. I've got Auburn finishing last in the West.
I'm opposite. I got LSU finishing last. Both of them going 6-6 though.
I'm gonna have to agree with that. I think Auburn's gonna finish last in the West. They have they have the hardest or the toughest schedule in college football.
No, I'm with you.
The
Absolute toughest schedule in college football.
The only reason I have Auburn finishing 6th instead of 7th is because I think that they'll beat LSU at home. I think they're both going to go 2-6 in the SEC.
All their tough games, with the exception of Arkansas, are all away. So I can see that.
It's specifically they're projected to play at least 7 teams in the top 25.
They do get Penn State at home, but I have them losing that game too.
There's a good.
You do?
Like I said, there's a good chance that they lose.
No, I have them winning
to
that
the
game.
bulk of the West. Like there's a good chance.
Yeah, no, I have them finishing 2-6.
Yeah,
in the SEC. The only games I think they win in the SEC is against Missouri and LSU, but I also have LSU finishing 2-6.
Yeah, I don't. I would be hard pressed to put any kind of pick between LSU and Auburn. I think they're too close to each other in terms of inconsistency.
I mean, it could go. It really could go either way.
Those games could go either way, and I would have a look at where's that game played.
It's at Auburn. That's why
Auburn.
I think that Auburn beats them.
So I would give them the upside in that game if I had to choose.
Which is why